Good evening, everyone. It's 6 o'clock. Can I have it quiet, please? It's 6 o'clock and time to call to order this meeting of the Gallatin City Council. We begin each of our meetings with the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance. I'd invite you to stand with me as Stephen Carter leads us in the prayer and Councilman Hayes leads us in the pledge.
May we bow? Dear Lord, we ask that you would bless us as we do the city of this business, or do the business of the city. Lord, we ask that you would bless and keep us safe. Lord, we ask that you would always help us to keep you in mind as we do the things that we need to do to make Gallatin a better place. We ask, Lord, that you would help us to be on one accord and to be cordial. And Lord, just to consider you in all of our actions. In your name we pray and ask it all. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
Please join me in the pledge. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. And Ms. Kittrell, if you would call the roll for us, please.
Vice Mayor Love,
Here.
Councilman Carter,
Present.
Councilman Fan,
Here.
Councilman Fennell,
Here.
Councilwoman George,
Here.
Councilman Hayes,
Present.
and Councilman Juvance. Mayor, we have a quorum.
Thank you so much. Glad everyone's here this evening. We don't have any minutes to be considered this evening, so we'll move on to public recognition. There are two opportunities for public recognition in this meeting. One is at the beginning of the meeting, it's on agenda-related items, and then at the end of the meeting, it's for recognition on non-agenda-related items. I also want you to be aware that under item number 1 tonight, there's a public hearing, and this public hearing is on the preliminary master development plan for Avery Trace. So if that is your item of interest, you may wish to wait and speak on that during that public hearing. But with that, I'll open public recognition on agenda-related items. You may come forward and speak. You'll have 5 minutes. We ask that you give us your name and your address for the record, please. Public recognition is now open.
Hello, Renee Saunders, 2092 Rodman Boulevard, Gallatin. And it's a question, and I realize that you all don't respond to questions, but with respect to the levying of the impact fees, before leaving home this evening, there was a story on Channel 5. I think Councilman Juvance brought up the fact that Rutherford County was asking the state to change their charter such that they could do that. And so I just wanted to bring that to your attention, and obviously you'll be able to see that on their streaming. My question was regarding the resolution that's here tonight. There's a section that says what the impact fees does not include everything, but these are the things. And one of the things is emergency services, and I wanted to know broadly, is emergency services the inclusion of police, fire, and EMS? And the other thing that I didn't see that the impact fees could potentially be used for, again, it says this is not an exhaustive list, but school improvements. So as it relates to new developments going up and schools that may need to be improved upon because of the new population coming into the town.
Anyone else wishing to speak during this time?
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is David Deere. I live on 805 East Main Street. I'd like to just have an encore here and touch on 2 points. One is the first and second agenda item. Regarding the first agenda item, I'm in support of the Avery Trace project. Like to see it go forward. Certainly want to see the master development plan, in detail and how that works out. But one more time, I want to charge this council that it is a major traffic issue that has to be considered there. This is not something that you can walk away from. I looked at since the last time I looked at the layout and where the exits are going to be, and in Sunset, there's no possibility for expanding that road or down Bentley Circle. And quite frankly speaking, given that that is an access point, I think you're going to have to prohibit some way, or they're going to cross over and you're going to have a major problem. Going down to Francis is going to be an equally difficult situation. Hampton seems to be the only one that's going to be able to handle it because of its width. And I go back and I just want to remind everybody that this is the opportunity now to tie this, what could be a flagship development into our greenway system. Because you're talking about 1,000 more people that's going to be in this 300-plus homes, roughly 300 homes, and they're right at the border of our greenway, but they're not quite there. So I would, again, want to encourage going down Hampton, picking up the greenway. They have to expand it from Bentley up to Hampton. You'll get Oderay and just put a little bit of sidewalk in, and you'll pick up faraway hills. And of course, there will be a greenway throughout the PUD development with Avery Trace, but it'll go nowhere if you don't tie it in. And of course, we need sidewalks on East Main. Walking down the middle of the road, riding bicycles down the middle of the road, that's not going to be an option when you have 4 times the number of homes in that one development, and you're going to have twice the traffic as with the report, the first traffic report. And of course, you know my feeling that we really need a detailed traffic report. With respect to the ordinance amending on the impact fees, fiscal year last year, I think there were 537 homes that were permitted in Gallatin. If you take the maximum impact fee, or I should say the facility fees that the county charter allows you, you add that to what the permit fees and, well, what's coming in for a new residence in Gallatin. If you compare that with what Williamson County, the only county that does have impact fees like this, you're that one development, which, or that 1 year, 537 homes, the difference would be about $5 million. And that could go to schools. That could go wherever you want it. I know it's county, I know it's city. I'm throwing this out there. We have a speaker pro tem here. We have the majority leader of the General Assembly here. There shouldn't be an issue. And we all know what the issue is, but it's going to have to be addressed. And with respect to impact on the people's willingness to purchase homes, impact fees have been in this country from coast to coast for decades. There is an academic body of analysis of that hasn't affected it. Thank
That
you very
wasn't
much.
for you. I'm sorry. That was for the previous speaker. I forgot to reset. I do believe I did, I think.
Okay. I'm just going to say that next year, again, I remind everybody, it's election year. This is going to be an issue both for the county, for the city. I know you guys just want to get permission. The county's wanting, Rutherford's asked, Murray has asked. This is an issue that's not going to go away. And we're losing a lot of money with each one of these developments that goes through forever. Thank you very much. And again, roads on East Main Street, sidewalks, greenways.
Thank you, Mr. Deere. Anyone else wishing to speak under public recognition at this time? Okay, seeing no one, I'll declare public recognition closed. Ms. Saunders, I will address just your comments really quickly. You had asked about police, fire, EMS. No on EMS, these would be city impact fees, so therefore they wouldn't be able to go to EMS services, and also on schools. What Mr. Deere was just talking about the counties also seeking the ability to levy impact fees, those could go for schools. The counties currently have an adequate facilities tax. Sumner County charges 70 cents per square foot. The maximum's $1 per square foot. And that money, I believe, all goes for schools. So that's kind of how that breaks out. So appreciate your question. We will move on now to Mayor's comments. Most importantly, happy birthday, Eileen George. And I don't know why you're here tonight, but we're glad you are. She spent last night at Planning Commission and tonight with the City Council, so we're grateful for that. I also want you all to congratulate Richard DePriest. Last week, he was recognized at the Sumner County Council of Governments banquet as the Sumner County Municipal Public Servant of the Year, so we're very proud of that. And Mr. DePriest, you don't know this because I haven't forwarded it to you, but I sent it out to the department heads and the council, and they sent back loads of congratulations, but I didn't copy you on that. So you didn't get all the replies that were congratulating you, but we were very proud of that. It was a nice event. Sumner County Council of Governments is just an informal gathering. Generally, several times throughout the year of the city mayors and the county mayor and city administrators and the like. And then once a year, there is a banquet where we recognize some outstanding folks for our entire county. So that was a nice event hosted in White House at their new city hall. I was a little jealous. So, but it's a lovely facility if you haven't seen it, and a nice development happening around it, very impressive. Also want to make everyone aware that City Hall is going to be a United Way coat drop-off location, so you'll be able to drop off your used coats here, or new coats if you would like to donate those, for people who need coats in the wintertime. United Way does this each year. They take the coats, they're dry cleaned, and then they're distributed to those who need coats for the winter months. Any size, and that's through October 20th. There are numerous locations throughout the county where you can drop off. But if you'd like to drop off here at City Hall, we would certainly welcome you to do that. And very importantly, this weekend is a great big weekend in Sumner County, and well, in Gallatin, certainly. I think it's probably one of our biggest, busiest weekends. And that, of course, is the Main Street Festival that's happening all day on Saturday. I believe the time is 10 till 5. Also on that day, breakfast at the American Legion happens, the NAACP Freedom Fund banquet at First Baptist Church, the 27th annual Candlelight Cemetery Tour sponsored by the Sumner County Museum is at the cemetery from 5 until 10. Children Are People is hosting their Under the Big Top event, and that's all just this Saturday. Monday is Columbus Day. Most city offices will be closed on that day. Your garbage will be delayed one day, and there'll be no bulk pickup on Friday. On the 12th, remember we spoke about the Be Pro, Be Proud event at Volunteer State Community College. This is a mobile unit where people can go and explore various career opportunities. Well, it's actually kicking off right here in Gallatin at Volunteer State Community College. Because of Dr. Montague's death, that was postponed, and it's going to happen on the 12th, which will be next week. And we will look forward to that. The following weekend is the music, I don't know if they're still having their breakfast, I don't think they are. But chili cook-off at the American Legion's happening that weekend. And also Cars for CASA is happening in Hendersonville, benefiting Sumner County CASA. I think those are all of the mayor's comments, unless someone has something I should have mentioned and failed to. Guess not. Okay, with that, we will move on to the regular agenda. And the first item on the agenda is the public hearing that I spoke of. It's public hearing on amended ordinance 02309-50. And Councilman Fan is recognized to introduce that.
Thank you, Mayor. This is an ordinance of the City of Gallatin, Sumner County, Tennessee, rezoning two parcels, 109.99 plus or minus acres, tax map 112, parcel 033.00 and tax map 1121, Group B, parcel 022.02 from the R40 Low Density Residential District to R8 PRD Medium Density Residential Planned Residential Development District with a preliminary master development plan for Avery Trace located east of East Main Street and south of Timber Lane Drive, authorizing the revision to be indicated on the official zoning atlas, repealing conflicting ordinances, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date. Zone 2023-0081. This is a public hearing.
Okay, public hearing is now open. You may come forward and speak. Similar to public comment, we ask that you give us your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Mary Janung. I live at 1100 Lock 4 Road. I'm not here regarding that address. I'm here regarding an address of property that I own on East Main, which is 845 East Main. I own a home there. I've had it since 1998. I am greatly concerned. My home sits in front of this property, and the property drains down into my property, and makes a little creek behind the property. When it rains or we have a lot of spring rains, it creates a wide creek area in the back of my property. Sometimes it has gone under the house. The city has come out previously and recently and replaced the big culverts at my driveway. My driveway has gotten washed out because of the water that runs off this property. I did make an effort to go to the engineering office And they were very kind and talked to me about the development, the way it was. They said it was preliminary. And we talked about the topography of the land, and the land, my house is here, and this land goes like this. So the water just drains off that property. My biggest concern is this land, when you develop it, there's not going to be enough absorption, and it's going to cause flooding to my home and damage. You know, I just need somebody to really pay attention to this. And the traffic, the gentleman talked about the traffic on East Main. Yes, it's a problem. But biggest thing for me is the damage it could cause to my property with flooding. And there's another house right next to my house, and it has the same issue with the water coming in between us. So I'm not sure what you're gonna do about this, but I will tell you that, and the engineering gentleman that I spoke to promised me that he would really watch this, because there are little creeks, and I'm gonna turn this around, I don't know if you can see it, but there are little creeks that flow into Town Creek. My house is right here on East Main. This property is right here, so the water runs down like this. And so it is your job to protect your citizens' property, and I would appreciate it if you would think about that and pay attention to that when you decide what you want to do about this. I know that I trust the engineer that I spoke to, but I did want to bring this to your attention and to the folks that are here listening, because I don't know. I'm scared this is going to ruin it's going to cause damage to my home and flood it, and it'll end up being worth nothing. So thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Nunn, did you say 25 or 45? I couldn't understand you.
My property, 845.
Good evening, Todd Alexander, 217 Strange Circle. Thank you, Mayor and Council, for the privilege of speaking, and I also want to echo birthday blessings to my representative from District 2.
Thank you.
Council. One of the previous speakers mentioned the traffic. I pulled up the trip generation report that was included in your work session from September the 12th of this year. To me, adding, with it zoned R40, you're adding, according to their estimate, 1,133 trips, which sounds like a lot on East Main. And if you rezone this to R8, it becomes 302 units, and the trips go to just under 2,500 trips. I want to remind you of your words on previous situations like this, and I believe it was during the time we were considering Lorraine Drive, and that proposed development over there was zoning is when we have to pay attention. Zoning is where we get caught if we zone something at a higher density. Once it's there, it's there. And so I ask you to remember those words and to pay attention. That is 2,500 trips down East Main is a lot of traffic. And so I just want to remind you of that. And also, attachment 2 of your September 12th work session had, I guess, a preliminary drawing. And it is so small. I know I'm getting old, but I got bifocals. But you can't read it. And when I blow it up on my computer, by the time you get it up where you can see it, it's illegible. Everything is so far apart. So if you can do something where the public can see these documents a little easier, if that can be done, it would be appreciated. Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to speak on public hearing on this item? Now would be your time. Okay, seeing no one, public hearing on amended ordinance 02309-50 is now closed. And we will move on to item number 2, which is second reading on ordinance 02307-43. Councilman Juvance is recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. It's an ordinance amending Article 3, Section 1 of the City of Gallatin Tennessee Charter established in Chapter 67 of the Private Acts of 1953 and as amended thereafter to add the power to levy impact fees on new developments, and I so move.
Motion by Councilman Juvent, second by Councilman Hayes. Is there any discussion? Second reading.
I
Okay.
had a lot of questions about that, so I made a quick presentation. If you can let me put that out, I would appreciate it. Less than 2-minute presentation.
Okay. Okay. What, I'm sorry?
A video presentation. And
Okay.
will make things a lot clearer for
Okay.
people. So,
Okay. I mean, what am I supposed to go play it? Or I don't understand.
no, I'm just asking if you're okay with it.
Absolutely. I didn't know you hadn't let me know. I didn't realize you had spoken to him, so very good. Okay. All right, thank you very much. Is there anyone else? Anyone else with comments? I think you should send that to our legislators, not to this body, because
Sometimes you don't understand, so I figure
You're
it's
right about that.
easier. Picture speaks better than
thank
me.
you. Anyone else with any questions, comments? Okay, this is second reading on ordinance 02307-43. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no.
No.
Okay, it passes by a vote of 6-1. Item number 3 is second reading on ordinance 02309-49. Vice Mayor Love.
Thank you, Mayor. This is an ordinance appropriating funds for 2023/24 carryover capital projects. I move,
Second.
I also have an amendment after we vote.
Now, we have a motion and a second, and this does need to be amended, and so do you want to address that, Vice Mayor Love?
Well, I would like to amend it to read, be it ordained by the city of Gallatin, Tennessee, that the sum of $7,242,316.88 hereby be appropriated from the general fund unassigned fund balance for the following carryover projects that were incomplete at the end of fiscal year 2023. And that adds document management in the amount of $221,804 and downtown parking garage in the amount of $600,000. So
Thank you.
Second on amendment.
Okay, so I have a motion by Vice Mayor Love to amend it, a second by Councilman Hayes. Any questions on the amendment? Okay, let's vote on the amendment. All in favor of the amendment, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, please say no. takes us back to the original motion as amended. Any further comments, questions? Okay, this is going to be amended ordinance 02309-49. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, say no. It does unanimously pass. Item number 4 is second reading on ordinance 02309-51. Councilman Fennell.
My mic on. This ordinance amending Gallatin Municipal Code, Chapter 16, Article 2, and Article 6 related to parking. Motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilman Fennell, second by Councilman Juvance. Any questions, any discussion, anyone? Okay, this is second reading on ordinance 02309-51. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Does pass second reading unanimously. Item number 5 is second reading on ordinance 02309-52. Councilman Carter.
Thank you, Mayor. This is an ordinance appropriating funds in the amount of $22,350 for storm damage repairs, and I so move.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Carter, second by Councilman Fennell. Any questions on this? Okay, this is second reading on ordinance 02309-52. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Passes unanimously. Item 6 is resolution R2309-80. Councilman Hayes.
Yeah, this resolution of support and authorizing Gallatin Public Utilities to apply for natural gas distribution infrastructure safety and modernization grant for natural gas systems improvements. Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Hayes, second by Councilwoman George. Is there any questions, any comments? Okay. Resolution R2309-80. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Passes unanimously. I'm going to pause right here. We got a pretty good crowd here tonight, people that I haven't seen before. I want you guys to know that most of these items are discussed at a work session before they come to us to vote. So I think a lot of times people sit in the audience and they see us voting on things without any discussion, and that is often why. And between the work session and between the voting meeting, there's often questions directed to me or the department heads or various people related to these items. So it's not that they're voting without discussion. I just want you to know that since I see some new people here this evening. Item number 7 is resolution R2309-81. Councilwoman George.
Thank you, Mayor. This is a resolution of the City of Gallatin, Tennessee, to adopt an identity theft prevention program. I so move.
Second.
Motion by Councilwoman George, second by Councilman Carter. Are there any questions on this? It's resolution R2309-81. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Passes unanimously. Item 8 is resolution R2309-82. Councilman Juvance.
Thank you, Mayor. It's a resolution authorizing the City of Gallatin to participate in a public entity partners, safety partners matching grant program, and I so move.
Second.
Okay, motion by Councilman Juvance, second by Councilman Carter. Any questions or any discussion, anyone? Okay, it's resolution R2309-82. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Passes unanimously. Item 9 is resolution R2309-83. Vice Mayor Love.
Thank you, Paige. This is a resolution amending the City of Gallatin Personnel Rules and Regulations, Rule 16, Section 16-1, 16-2, and 16-3. I so move.
Second.
A motion by Vice Mayor Love, second by Councilwoman George, opening the floor. Okay, this is resolution R2309-83. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, say no. Passes unanimously. Item number 10 is resolution R2309-84. Councilman Fennell.
Yes, this is a resolution to rescind resolution number R2309-77 and to adopt and reconform council's action to revise the employee pay plan, wage increases, and undated job descriptions within the police department. Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Fennell, second by Councilman Hayes. Are there any questions? Comments? All right. Resolution R2309-84. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. It is unanimously passed, and I know Chief Bandy and the Police Department will be pleased with that. Item 11, Ms. Kittrell.
Yes, Mayor. This is an application for wine and grocery stores or wine and retail stores. we changed the codes last year, and so now they have to come before this body for approval. They have to pass a background check, and they have to go before planning to make sure that they're in the correct location. This is Mac's Convenience Store, which they are purchasing. They are known as Circle K, and they are purchasing the MAPCO in front of Publix on Nashville Pike, and that is the store that they wish to sell wine in. So they have met the requirements. I just need confirmation from this body.
Motion? I move that we accept it.
Motion by Vice Mayor Love,
Second.
second by Councilman Hayes. Are there any questions?
It still have to have a background check, though.
They already have.
They already have, okay.
Comes with their
Is there
application.
many other stores doing that?
Not yet, but I anticipate that we will see more. I'm trying to think if there are other Circle Ks. It may have to do with that flag coming into this community. I don't know. But I suspect if they do, others will.
Well, they have several other locations, but this was the only one they chose to put
Okay.
the wine in, so.
Test run it.
Okay. So this is item number 11, the approval of the Circle K certificate to sell wine. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. It does pass unanimously. That concludes our regular agenda. It brings us to other business. I know that there's at least one department head that has other business. If you'd like to go ahead, we welcome you to the podium, Ms. LaFever.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Council. A couple of weeks ago, I was preparing to bring you a resolution asking you permission to apply for a grant. I subsequently was advised that I was not eligible for that because of processes that I had not completed. Subsequent to that, after further conversation with the program administrators, I was advised to go ahead and apply for it. The only thing they can say is no, and the area that I was not sure about is really gray. So the request is due on 10/10, which is the date of the next committee meeting, and I would like to ask you for permission to go ahead and submit that, and then present you with a resolution at the next meeting.
And it's a 10% match, and she could match that with funds from her existing budget. One of the areas of concern was the cybersecurity policy, right, which you resolved to approve this evening. So
Correct, yes.
that can actually accompany
It all
that,
ties
so
in.
that's good. And the original date was last
September
week, and then they
18th.
extended it, which tells you they haven't had a lot of applicants, so.
That's good.
There's about $1.1 million to be dispersed to local entities, and like the mayor said, I can cover that, the 10% match with funds from my budget.
I move that we go ahead and allow you to apply for that.
Second.
And the resolution will be on next week's meeting. Motion by Vice Mayor Love, second by Councilman Juvance. Any further questions? I appreciate you for following up on that. I mean, I hate it. I was so disappointed when we determined we weren't eligible to apply, and then when I got your email, it's like,
Well,
yay.
it may come to nothing, but
And it might.
then again,
but
it may provide some relief.
We
some
heard
savings.
today that this tourism grant that we had applied for that we were really excited about that we didn't get. But, win some, lose some, and
Well, the other thing.
taxpayers win when we win, so.
This is an ongoing program. These are for actually fiscal year '22 funds, and there's fiscal year '23, '24, and '25 in the future. We'll have this opportunity again if it doesn't come to fruition now.
Thank you. I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no.
Thank you very much.
See you next week. Any other business from department heads? Mr. Brown?
Sorry that we didn't get you the information, but this Saturday is our first Miracle League game at the Miracle Park for the Fall League. So,
Awesome.
10 o'clock.
That is
Starts at
that
10.
is the best sporting event that happens in Sumner County. And you probably did get me the information. I just haven't gotten it put on the calendar of events. I just didn't see it and forwarded it to Angela to do that.
First
So,
game is this Saturday at 10.
Yeah, it is the best sporting event you could attend in Sumner County. I don't know, Gallatin football might be up there a little bit too, but it's really wonderful to go. And do you still take volunteers? Do you still
Yes,
need
we
volunteers?
still take buddies. If
Yeah.
you want to be a buddy, you can come and be a buddy. Each player has to have a buddy.
And volunteering is super cool for the people that do that too. So
One
thank
more
you for
Saturday
sharing that.
event.
Pardon me?
One more Saturday event.
One more Saturday event,
One more
absolutely.
great day in Gallatin.
Well worth it, yeah. You can have breakfast, then you can go there, then you can come uptown, and then you can roam around that night to several things. So thank you for that. Any other department heads with other business? How about members of this body?
Thank you, Mayor. A few ones. I would like to see if we could bring for discussion at the next council. I would like to be looking at an ordinance. We talk a lot about greenways right now, pathways through private properties, or greenway probably should go through private properties, and I don't think it's right. So I would like to bring to this council an ordinance to prohibit that to happen, that the city could not use eminent domain to take private property for greenways.
I don't understand.
What he's saying, he's asking to do what the county did because the state wouldn't allow that to apply to cities within the county. And basically what they said was that they wouldn't allow the taking of private property for greenways. I think, and Mr. McCord and Mr. Tuttle can back me up on this, but I believe that most of the greenways that we've done in Gallatin have had federal funds attached that wouldn't allow eminent domain for the acquisition of property anyway. I also have been told, and again, this is one, you guys would have to verify it because it's been a long time since I was told this, that we actually did have an incident with some property related to a greenway that was owned by several property owners, and they requested that it go to eminent domain because it was multiple property owners, and they couldn't agree amongst themselves, but they all agreed to let us take it to court and let the judge decide. So I think those are the facts related to that, but Mr. Dumont has asked if you want to have it, I guess, on the next work session, which
Yes,
we
ma'am.
have a very robust work session next week. What's the will of this body? Or you want to make a motion, I guess?
Yes, please.
Okay. Motion by Councilman Dumont. Okay, it dies for lack of a second at this point. Anyone else with any other business today? Seeing none, it is 6:30.
I'm not done.
Yeah, okay.
Excuse me, ma'am. You have seen at the planning a lot of discussion about trees and trees in new subdivision, and we just adopted the new parking ordinance, and we talk about street widening. So I think that should be a priority for now, so we don't get ourselves in a position where new subdivision gonna arrive with streets who would not allow our emergency services to go through if people park on both sides and there is traffic. So I would like to bring that for a discussion to see if we can do something about that.
Yeah,
Planning,
I think that is something that they have been discussing amongst themselves between emergency services and development departments. It's my opinion that they're probably not going to feel ready. They're also working on a thoroughfare plan and an update to our code. That would be the appropriate place that those things would happen. This is my opinion. It is the will of this body, whether you put it on a work session.
Yeah, but how long it's gonna take to happen?
That's going to take a while.
I know, where at the level we push development right now, we're gonna have issues with that, where we're not gonna be able to fix it until, if it's approved like it is right now, we're gonna have issues. So I think that should be a priority, or maybe a temporary thing. We can be amended later, but that should be an easy number to figure out. How wide should be a street so we can have the biggest truck we have in the fire department able to go if we have
Well,
one car parked on each side.
I would not be opposed to, I mean, the parking ordinance came through because that was pushed through, and then that created that concern. And so now they're working through trying to address that. But our development departments are very, very busy right now, and I think if they have to make that decision in the short order to get this on here, I think they could potentially do it a lot quicker than they do their codes and their plan. But I'm going to say they're not going to be ready for that for the next work session. This is my opinion. You correct me if I'm wrong, gentlemen. You can nod or shake your head. Okay, he is asking for us to make a decision to widen the streets for future developments. And
How do the trees tie into that?
yeah, I don't understand what you're talking about, the trees. I don't understand that piece of it, but
Yeah, forget the trees. You talk to it at the planning, forget,
I think he might be referencing us talking about the trees last night at Planning
yeah.
Commission.
Yes, ma'am.
So,
That's continuing in the planning commission.
the tree part is.
Yes.
In the discussion about the parking ordinance, those departments that were discussing it talked about, is there a need to have wider streets in the future? Personally, I think there is. But engineers and those spending the money to build those streets and the cost on, the impact on the cost of housing, those are the things that everybody's trying to figure out make sense, plus land use. Flooding, all the things that, play into that are an impact. Stormwater infrastructure, utility infrastructure, everything that's wider creates more feet of infrastructure.
Can you touch off on your discussion, just briefly, what you was discussing about the trees?
They're talking about street trees.
We actually were talking about street trees, and Brian from engineering actually gave a really neat report talking about the pros and cons. And there were some cons that I'd never thought of, like stormwater drain debris, ice and snow not melting off of streets, as quickly as we need it to, located in Tennessee. Of course, the roots upsetting the sidewalks and the roads. That would have been my primary con. I had not thought about the others. Because what we were doing, we were talking about, there was this situation where we require an 8-foot strip for trees, but we were talking about allowing for a 5-foot strip on a development that's coming through. And it's just looking at it aesthetically, and I still feel this way, that, let them have the 5 feet if it means getting the trees in there versus having them not in there, right? But then we decided we want to talk further about street trees. That discussion ensued, and now we're kind of like, well, let's just keep looking at it because there's lots of considerations associated with it. Certainly the long-term maintenance, the life of a tree, what happens to all those, what the impact of the cons over time. But we still, I think the body last night indicated that they feel strongly that the air quality and the aesthetic impact are pros that make the street trees worth the investment. And we usually have the developer be responsible for the trees. I mean, not on our square, but, in a development. And so it's there, but also it impacts the enforcement of those things. I mean, it's just lots of things to think about. And that's the thing with everything that we do to change. There's so many unintended consequences and costs that you have to think about when you're talking about those things. So we haven't done anything, but we talked about it for a long time last night.
Yes, we did. But it didn't.
Was there anything I missed?
No, you're exactly right. But I mean, it's a presentation that was given to us, so it's something that, in my opinion, we're just continuing to discuss.
And I said I felt like we needed flexibility because it depends on the width of the road, it depends on the speed of the road, it depends on the type of properties along the road, it depends on, the corridor and the wishes of the person who's spending the money to build it, that kind of thing, so. Any thoughts on what I've said as far as readiness to move forward with making a determination on that?
On the road or on the trees?
Road. Trees are with planning. Roads have to start with planning, quite actually.
Yeah, but I think we can't play with safety of our first responder and safety of people. So even if we do something temporary until we get a final solution, but I think if people can park in a street and we authorize development to have streets who are not wide enough to have fire truck goes by, if we have people park on both sides of the tree, on the streets, we're playing with safety of people. So I think that should be a priority.
But remember, the ordinance does not allow for people to park on the street in a way that impedes any kind of traffic or emergency traffic. So that would be illegal. I would ask, why did we just do this if, because we can't, I mean, we've talked in depth about how to address how that's going to impact existing streets, because it could. It could, out of ignorance, but it also could, out of lack of care. That's the polite way to say it. I don't think.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but humans are humans. Okay, we all know how we function. If there's a car parked on the other side of the tree, on the street, tree is street now, damn it. And someone's gonna arrive and visit someone and is gonna park on the other side. They're not thinking about how wide the street is, or they're not thinking that they don't know how wide an engine truck is. I actually don't know how wide an engine truck is, so I could not. I could be parking and say, hey, traffic can't go by because I see cars passing by and maybe a truck can't. So that's my main concern. I think the parking ordinance, the way that was didn't work, so it's great we change it, but we need to go to the next step and we need to do it really, really quick so we don't play with people's safety. That's the way I see it. And if we say we take Councilman Fenner truck, the biggest one, we measure it, we put that by 2, we take the biggest truck we have and we add, a couple of feet on each side, and we say for now, that's what we authorize. And there probably a standard somewhere.
That's what Ms. Hyman-Colley just said. There are standards that direct how wide our streets should be and what is allowed on them. And if you will recall, that the parking was just changed because we were atypical compared to other communities.
Mm-hmm.
And while, you think that people would tend to block a street, I would say that would be the unusual circumstance. I think most people are very considerate and try to, watch out to make sure that traffic can get by. And I mean, I see it. I've seen it. I've seen people park in front of driveways, but I think that is not normal.
Unusual circumstances happen all the time.
But
a few months ago, I was stuck. There was a semi truck who got stuck on the railroad with a train arriving, so the train stopped and blocked everything. Block basically all the next entries to the city. So things happen.
Things happen. I got stuck in the middle of town today with a semi that couldn't turn. I mean, things happen, and there's no way a fire engine could have gotten through there, and thank goodness nothing happened during that time that they needed to. But I think that trying to create a quick solution is only going to create more issues, and I would certainly ask that you allow me the opportunity to speak with our department heads that would be relevant to that and see what their thoughts are and how we might proceed on that. I think that's fair.
And if you can bring us an update at the next work session, that would be great, or in 2 work sessions, but I appreciate that.
That satisfy what you want to do at
Yes,
this
ma'am.
point?
Thank you, Mayor.
Any other business from anyone on this council? Okay. It is now 7:50. We spent 10 minutes on that, so it's 7:50.
6:50.
6:50, even better. Thank you. Hey, 6:50 on this. Oh, Miss George's birthday, and we do have public recognition. I'm sorry. Thank you for the reminder, though. I guess I'm just eager for her to be able to get out of here. Okay, y'all, we do have public recognition on non-agenda related items at this time. Same as at the beginning of the meeting. You'll have 5 minutes. We ask that you give us your name and address, and you'll have 5 minutes to speak. Ms. Saunders.
Come back up again. Renee Saunders, 2092 Rodman Boulevard. Mr. Hayes, I think I have the question for you. I came home the other night in my neighborhood, and there are 2 traffic speed limit digital signs. I don't know what you call them. Speed, okay. And so I wonder how they got there and what the purpose of them being there is, if you can answer the question. And then, of course, I always want to thank the golf course management. I want to thank the golf course management, mostly because I don't use a whole lot of services in Gallatin, but I do use that service since retiring. The grounds crew is doing a fantastic job. The rough is a little too rough, but I'm working on keeping my ball in the fairway. So I think that's all I have, and if you could answer that question either in public or private, I would appreciate
We'll
it.
answer it after public comment, because it's always helpful for everybody. Anyone else wish to speak under public comment on non-agenda related items? Okay. Okay, I'll close public recognition on non-agenda related items. Ms. Sanders, those signs are considered traffic calming. Oh, what do you want?
That's what let her get with Bill.
Okay, yeah, you can get with Chief Sarles if you want. Appreciate your kind comments about the golf course. I need to tell this council and really the public, the golf course manager had a terrible accident a few weeks ago. And she is recovering, but I know that she would appreciate your thoughts and prayers. And if you're so inclined, a nice card. So thank you for that. Okay,
Motion to adjourn.
motion to adjourn by the birthday lady, second by Councilman Carter. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Ladies and gentlemen, have a nice evening. Thank you for spending time with us tonight. Be nice to each other.